Hello! Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a really nice day. It couldn't be more beautiful. It really couldn't. You know, it's October. The weather is perfecto. It's a little bit warm. You can feel like a chill on the edge of the air. You know, it's nice texture to the weather. Good weather. So, shout out to the planet. Thank you for this nice weather. It is Halloween week. When exactly is Halloween? Friday? And, you know, I mean, Halloween has changed so much since I was a kid. When I was a kid, you could go trick-or-treating and you didn't have to worry about razor blades and poison. And then it turns out, if I read somewhere, and please double check me, if you're gonna go to a court of law, do not say Laura said. What you want to do is double check, and then you can say Laura said she found the source and I found it too. But the poison in the candy was somebody trying to poison their own family, and they used, I think it was pixie sticks, which is just a tube, a little paper straw filled with tangy sugar, which, you know, I mean, why hasten the inevitable? I mean, that's going to kill you anyway. But after that, everybody went crazy, you know, where they're razor blades and they don't take a candied apple, you know, everything got nuts after that. And then, you know, now people don't even trick-or-treat in their neighborhood anymore. It's you know, my niece, when she was little widow, they did something called trunk or treat, and everyone would go to the church. We're not churchy people. Everyone would go to the church, and you would go from car to car to car, and people would hand out candy from the trunk of their car. I'm not sure how that's safer than going from door to door to door, because at least door to door to door, that house is not going anywhere. If you got a suspicious piece of candy, you can say, well, this is the block we were on, right? But if you're going to a trunk or treat, you know, the crime scene is on wheels. So I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works. So we grew up in a neighborhood. It was on a street called Wilbert in Lakewood, Ohio. And at the end of the street, if you ran straight down the end of the street, you would fall into the lake. We were at the top of a cliff, and there was Lake Erie. And there was some pretty swell houses all around. Pretty swanky. And across the street from us was the heiress to the Carnation powdered milk fortune. She was a very, very old lady. And you would trick or treat, and you would get to her door, and she always gave out the peanut butter taffy. They came in either a black wax wrapper or an orange wax wrapper. I don't know if they still even make these. And it was me and my siblings and my cousin. So there were 6 of us. And we discovered that one cousin had cleverly figured out how to double dip by being one of the first ones in line to get candy. And while everybody was distracted and saying, oh, aren't you a cute little goblin, or he would run and get back in line for a second piece of candy. And we learned this because the lady at the carnation heiress, before she opened the door, counted how many of us there were and pieced out precisely 6 pieces of saltwater taffy. So when he got back in line, boy, did he get a scolding. Because she explained her procedure, and she yelled at him for cheating an old lady. And the thing is, this cousin is the kindest, most generous person in the world. Clever, I didn't think of it, it's a pretty smart move for a 5-year-old, 6-year-old to come up with. But I mean, these are the kinds of things I remember. There was always the house that you never went to because clearly it was a murder house. I'm going to the murder house. And now that I'm an adult, I would be the one in the murder house. And how you identify a murder house is it's a little unkempt and the lights are off. I think that describes where I would be living. But kids don't trick-or-treat in my neighborhood. I live in an apartment, and it's not a trick-or-treat kind of neighborhood. So we don't buy candy anymore. We don't need it in the house, and nobody's gonna come and ask for anything anyway. When I was at USC, God, we were in an apartment neighborhood. We did not expect trick-or-treaters. So we got trick-or-treaters. And I'm hanging out. It's me and my neighbor's boyfriend. I don't remember where she was, but she was nowhere to be found. And somebody knocked on the door, and all I had, oh, I can't believe this. I had a bag of quarters for the laundry machines. So I just gave each kid a couple of quarters, and, off they went. And all of a sudden we started getting more and more trick-or-treaters. And I ran out of quarters, and here comes this little fat Superman, and he says, "Don't you have any more quarters?" And that's when I realized these kids were doing the same move my cousin did. They just actually left and then came back, which again, I never thought of. Once I hit a house, I moved on. But the whole do another lap, genius. I really didn't think any of this through as a kid. I don't think it's greedy to do another lap. I think, these people are going to have bags and bags of candy around the house. You're doing them a favor by relieving them of the temptation of all those Snickers. So little fat Superman was pissed off that we didn't have any more quarters. And then Dwayne says, hold on. And he pulls a pack of Dentyne out of his pocket and starts passing out individual pieces of Dentyne. And to make it sound more appealing, he goes, "Hey, they're even warm." Like this was a bonus. So gross. Let me eat the warm gum from your pocket. Ew. Dwayne was great. I loved that guy. Yeah. So I don't know, what your plan is for Halloween and if you're going to sit at home with the lights out or take the kids to the mall. I remember that was a chapter of Trick or Treat, was take the kids to the mall and they could go from store to store. Boy, was that a cynical grab. Like, you were supposed to come in, say trick or treat, and your parents would be so enticed that they'd buy a new patio set or whatever. It just, that never sit well with me. And I mean, by then I was not trick or treating. It was the twilight of my trick or treat years. And then when I was at USC, while I was a student, I made friends with someone who was from France, and she had never. I mean, the whole year was showing her things that we do in America that they don't do in France, and so we explained trick or treat to her, and then went around the USC apartments, and those kids are usually home and they usually have candy, and because it's at that time of year, they're usually cramming for midterms. So we take her to a couple of doors, and finally she gets the hang of it. And she gets to this door and she pounds on it like she's gonna arrest somebody. I mean, it was just loud and scary. And this kid who's cramming for his biology exam opens the door and she goes, "Tricks and tricks, now you must give me the candy." She was wearing a beret and braids. She always wore a beret and braids. And the guy said, "I don't know if you deserve any candy because this costume is stupid, but hold on." And one of his study buddies had planned for the eventuality of possible trick-or-treaters, so he came back with a couple pieces of candy, but he was not amused. Oh my God. So funny. Yeah, I love Halloween. I really love it. One year I was working for a tailor who did all the movie stars, and I took his seamstress, because she didn't drive. I took his seamstress to Sofia Vergara's, and she was fitting up Sofia Vergara, and I'm just sitting in the kitchen minding my own business, which means I was working on one of my own scripts, and her assistants asked me if I was on the show. This was back when she was on Modern Family. And I was like, no, I'm just doing my own thing. I'm just waiting for the seamstress. Oh, okay. And then they're all leaning on their elbows talking about how much they hate Halloween. What a stupid holiday. And I couldn't help it. I was like, I love Halloween. And they were like, what on earth are you thinking? How could you love this holiday? And I said, well, to be honest, my birthday is the day after Halloween. So every Halloween was my birthday party when I was a kid. How convenient is that? If you could plan your baby's birth and you don't want to plan for a lot of parties, plan for a Halloween baby, because then you could just send kids trick-or-treating and then blow out a candle on some cupcakes and birthday party satisfied. So, it's a costume party every year. So I was like, I can't help it. Maybe it's from a place of deep vanity or ego or something, but I just love this holiday. I love Halloween. I don't necessarily love my birthday, which there's this subtle difference. If I don't do anything for my birthday, I don't care, but I sure as shit enjoy doing something for Halloween. It's weird. So, the afternoon goes by, and everything is done, and the seamstress has gathered up everything she needs to take with her. She's got all these bags of stuff. There's a ton of stuff to to do. And we get in the elevator, and as we're going down, she says, Sophia wanted you to have this. Oh,